Hi everybody! I hope you're having a really great day at Camp Challenge. My name is Miss Sierra and I'm going to be teaching you arts and crafts for the next few weeks. Now obviously camp is a little bit different this year, but I just want to assure all of you that we're going to have a really great time these next 6 weeks and you're going to learn a bunch of cool and exciting new things. Now, I have two different crafts actually prepared for you today, and I'm going to be teaching you two things. The first one is DIY stress balls. They look like this. And the second are going to be worry stones. Now I'm going to show you what they look like as well, and they look like this. I'm obviously going to be explaining these in a bit further detail, and I'll show you step by step how we do these. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about why I chose these crafts for us today. Today's the first day and I wanted to pick a really easy and fun craft for us to do. The harder stuff will come a little bit later. But for those of you that have never heard of a worry stone or seen one, I'm going to quickly explain to you what that is. Now it might seem kind of obvious, but a worry stone is a stone that you rub right here when you're worried or seem a little stressed out. Now, rubbing this stone actually helps you when you're worried or sad. It helps you to relieve some of those feelings and make you feel better. I actually have a worry stone of my own, and I got one when I was about around your age, which I know seems like forever ago, but it's something that I rub as well, and I keep it in my pocket, and I just twiddle it around with my fingers when I can't focus or am feeling a little overwhelmed, and it actually does help me feel better. Now, the second thing that we're going to be making are stress balls. Those also might kind of seem a little obvious as to what they are, but I'll explain it anyway. The stress ball is something that also can help relieve stress. And again, it looks like this. And it helps when you might be feeling really, really angry or frustrated and you squeeze it a bunch. That's the point. That's what a stress ball's for. It's if you're feeling really, really angry or worked up, you squeeze it to help take out that anger or frustrations and it doesn't break. Now, you don't have to use this, obviously, when you feel angry all the time. You can always just use it for fun or as a toy, because as hard as you squeeze it, it's not going to break. So, let's just jump right into some of these crafts. You're going to need to get the following materials out of your bucket before we start. So, please get your scissors, a piece of white paper, both of your stones, a balloon, your markers, the little bag of flour you have, paint, and your paintbrush. So, the first craft that we are going to start off with is going to be our worry stones. Now, I'm going to zoom in. This is what mine looks like. If you can see that well, I'm not the most tech savvy as all of you are, so next week I will zoom in a little bit better and get my camera in better focus. But this is what my rock looks like. My worry stone. It's a little bee right here, and it says, happy at the bottom. So it's bee, happy. And I grab my stone when I might be feeling worried or stressed out, and I take a look at it, and it just says be happy. So it's a little reminder to me when I'm feeling kind of down, just to relax. Some of you might be feeling a little upset because there's a lot going on in the world right now, and it's perfectly normal to feel sad, upset, or stressed, overwhelmed. So everybody feels that way sometimes, but these worry stones are just a little reminder or something that might help you when you start to feel this way. If you pick up this rock, you put it in your hand, put it in between your thumb and your index finger, and just rub it. Or just twiddle it around your fingers or in the palm of your hand. You'll notice it's super smooth. It's super smooth, and that's the whole point, because You want to rub it between your fingers and it's super smooth and it's just supposed to calm and relax you down. Now, you can put whatever you want to paint on these worry stones, okay? They're yours to keep, so you can paint whatever you would like to paint this week on these. In the weeks coming, I'm going to have specific paintings that you are going to do step by step with me, but for today, if you want to paint whatever you want to paint on your stone, you can do that. You can draw a monster, or a robot, or a heart, or a peace sign, whatever makes you feel happy in what you want to paint, go for it. What I decided to draw, like I said, was a little bee, as a reminder to be happy. So that's what I'm going to do, and you can follow along if you'd like to. If not, that's alright. You can paint something else. That's fine too. Now, if you're going to paint the bee, the colors of paint we're going to use for this are yellow, white, and black. Now, grab your paintbrush, grab your paint, but first, before you even start, I just want to remind you that you're only going to need a little tiny bit of paint because this is going to dry very quickly, and you don't want to put a whole bunch of paint on this rock because the whole point of this rock is to feel smooth. And it's not going to feel very smooth if you put a whole gob of paint on this rock. So just take a tiny bit of paint on your paintbrush, that'll be just fine. The first thing that we're going to paint is the body of the bee. Grab your rock, grab your paintbrush, and get your white paint. Get a tiny amount of paint on your paintbrush, and I'll show you what a tiny amount is here in just a second. Tiny amount, meaning just like this, very tiny. Now I know, but grab just a teeny tiny amount, and we're going to paint a very small circle on the rock. Now, when I say small, I mean very small. It's going to look like this. That's how big your circle's going to be, okay? So, directly beneath it, you're going to paint an oval. Ready? Just do that in a little circular motion, and they're going to be connected, just like this. Now you're probably thinking, why on earth are we painting this bee white? Well, the bee's not going to be white. It's just going to be our first coat. The reason why we're painting this white to begin with is because it's, like I said, it's our first coat. Meaning, when you do white first, with anything you paint, this goes for anything that we'll paint later on this week. If you're painting a tree on your own and you don't want to paint the bee or a heart or a robot or whatever you're painting, be sure to put white down first, a little white outline. Because the paint that you put on after this white coat, which is for us going to be yellow, when we put our yellow paint down for our bee, it's going to be much brighter. We're going to have to put way less coats on it, and it's just going to look a lot nicer to put white on. So anytime you're painting anything, make sure to do a nice white coat over whatever it is you're painting, because it'll be just so much easier for you, and it'll look a lot nicer too. Now, let's get back to the bee. Right at the end of our little oval, we're going to do a triangle for our stinger. So it's going to look almost like a weird little ice cream cone at first. See? A circle and another oval with a little stinger at the bottom. Now we're going to paint our wings. Make a little half circle here at the top, like this. Now, right below it, we're going to make a really tiny half circle. It looks like this. It's okay if it doesn't look very smooth right now or neat. We're going to be going over this a couple times, so that's alright. Don't worry about it too much. Now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. We're going to do half circle again. And another little half circle, okay? So now it's starting to look like a bee. It should look like that. Right up top here, put a little space and do an even tinier little dot. Do 2 of them. So it should look like this, okay? Now we're going to let that part dry a little bit, and we're going to make up a little pathway for the bee to fly. What we're going to do is just make a couple dots, okay? Just like this one. See how the bee has a little pathway, dots around it? And you can do your path any way you want. I'm going to do a little loop-de-loop for mine. And you're just going to make real tiny dots with your paintbrush. Right underneath the stinger here, okay? You're just going to do little dots in a line, whatever line you'd like to do. But you're going to press down real gentle like this. And up. Press down and up. It's okay if they don't all look the same or the same size. That's perfectly fine. And keep doing that until you have your line or pattern. I did mine in a little loop formation, as you can see. Now we're going to move on to the words. You all should know how to spell happy by now, but I'm going to write it out right at the bottom underneath the little line here. I'm just going to do the H. Just grab a tiny amount of paint for that. H. Now we're going to move on to the A. P. P. Y. So it should say happy. And I know it looks a little white now and kind of funny, but that's alright. We'll come back to it, and we're going to let this thing dry. While it dries, we're going to start on our other project, okay? So we're going to start on our stress balls, okay? We're going to start on our stress balls. You're supposed to squeeze them around, so I know it looks kind of funny as to why I'm doing that. That's the whole point, see? It does look really nice, but you squeeze it, and you see how I'm squeezing it really, really hard, and it's not breaking. So, what you're going to need for this project is grab your balloon from your bucket, grab your flour, and grab the paper as well as the scissors, okay? First thing you're going to need to do, take your balloon, flip it upside down like this, stretch it out. Count to about 30 when you stretched it out. We're doing this so that the flour, all the flour in your baggie can fit inside of here, okay? So count to yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. $30. Now, grab your bag of flour, have it handy, and set it aside. Now, take your sheet of white paper, take your scissors, cut it in half, hamburger style. Cut it in half, straight down the middle. What we're going to do with this piece of paper and the balloon is we're going to make a funnel for the flour to go into the balloon. We're going to do that by roll it up like a little cylinder, sheet of paper, roll it up, when you're rolling it, roll it really tight, okay? Really, really tight. Just like this. It should be really tiny, your little cylinder, but you should still be able to see out of it, okay? So make sure that you can see outside of your little cylinder. If you have tape, you can tape the bottom of this shut right here. That'll make it a little easier. If you don't, that's okay. I'm not going to use tape, okay? So now what you're going to do, take your balloon, take your piece of paper, slide it over, okay? Do not, see how I'm being very careful. I'm not pinching this. Don't do that. I'm just slowly sliding it over. There's a tiny bit. It's about an inch on there, okay? Now take your flour. Please, before you start using the flour, make sure that you have a piece of paper underneath your balloon, or you're sitting at a table or wherever you're doing this, okay? Because flour can be messy and we don't want to make a mess anywhere. Now, this shouldn't be a really messy project the way that I'm going to explain it to you, but just in case, please make sure you have a piece of paper underneath your balloon or wherever you're going to do this, just in case you spill some, okay? I have a piece of paper, an extra one right here. So please just have that underneath your balloon while you're doing this project, because I don't want you to make a mess anywhere. Now, what you're going to do, take your bag of flour. Hold it, pinch the side, and shake it, like this. Make sure it's all on one side, like this. Hold the bag, take your pair of scissors, and cut the corner like this. Just like this, really slow. Make sure it's not too big, okay? Just the tip of the corner should be cut off. Now, take your balloon with your little funnel already in it and slowly pour your flour into it, okay? You can see that my flour is slowly starting to go in this funnel. It might take a little while, a couple minutes to get all the flour in there. You just have to be patient. See, some of mine is spilling out. So like I said, make sure that you're doing this somewhere where you're not gonna make a mess everywhere. Make sure you have a piece of paper or you're sitting at a table. Now, as you can see, some of my flour is already down in there. You don't have to fill up all of this whole bag in here, okay? Sometimes it's better with stress balls to have kind of tiny, like this one. I have two, one that's a little bigger and one that's a little tinier. Personally, I like mine to be kind of smaller because it just feels better in your hand, and it's about the size of your palm. It's better to have them smaller than way big because they're easier to squeeze too. Now, let's fill up the rest of this. It might take some time, but slowly pour your flour into the funnel. Now, if you're noticing that some of the flour is getting stuck in here, what you want to do is take a pencil that you have and just gently poke the flour down, and you'll notice that it'll come into your balloon. Don't jam it in there, just very lightly tap your flour with your pencil in. Keep filling this up. Now this is going to take a lot longer than your worry stone, okay? If you need help, ask somebody at home to help you with this project, because as you can see, I do have a little tiny bit of flour on my finger because it does spill out. But it takes a little bit of patience, and you don't want to rush doing this because you don't want to spill it everywhere, okay? So just keep pouring the flour into the funnel like this. Make sure if you need to pinch the side of your corner, go ahead and do so. Just really slowly pour it in there. Just like this, and it should go down the funnel into your balloon. And see, some of my flour is getting stuck in my funnel right here, so I'm going to pinch it till it goes down into my balloon. See, right now you should have a good amount. You can feel it in there. I know it might seem like I'm doing this kind of quick right now, but I've made a good amount of these, so it might take you a little longer. That's okay. Okay, I just took my funnel off. Be careful when you do that in case there's some excess flour. But while you're doing that, make sure you squeeze the bottom of the funnel and slowly push it all into the balloon. So I'm going to take it. It might not look too big right now, but I promise it will be just fine. Take it, twist it around your fingers like this, and pull, push the little thing through, okay? So you should have it tied and it should look like this. Now, take your marker and draw whatever you want on it. All I drew is a little face on mine. And now you have a stress ball. So now that you have your stress ball, make sure you let the marker dry, okay? Once you first put it on, it's going to be a little wet. And I actually cut the top of this part off, as you can see right here, okay? I cut just the top off. Do not cut anywhere where you made your knot. If you need help making a knot for your balloon, you can ask somebody that is home with you, okay? But again, I'll walk through it just in case you need a little refresher. Twist it around 2 fingers, like this, okay? It'll look like this. Put it through your 2 fingers, the top part, and pull, like this. So it should look like that, with a little knot. I drew a little smiley face, and this kind of looks like its hair, so. And now you'll notice the flour, it doesn't come out. You can squeeze as much as you want to, but it's not going to come out. Don't put anything sharp around it, obviously, though. Don't poke this with a pen or anything because it will break if you pop it, if you try to pop it or put something sharp around it. But if you squeeze this a whole bunch, it's not going to pop. So anytime you're feeling angry or stressed out, just give this a squeeze. We'll move on. But again, like I said, make sure you set this to the side after you draw on it and to let it dry, okay? So let's go back to our worry stone. Now, touch it lightly, make sure it's dry. It should be dry by this point. We're going to grab our yellow paint, same paintbrush, dip into it a little bit, and go over where you painted. So we're going to go right over our little circles, okay? Just like this. So now the body of the bee is yellow. And if it looks like it needs another coat, that's fine. You can paint one more on, just make sure it's very thin. We're only grabbing a tiny amount of paint, excuse me. Only grabbing a tiny, tiny amount of paint for your paintbrush, okay? So just very lightly paint it on there. You might need about 2 or 3 times you do this, just very lightly. And it only should take about a minute for this coat to dry. Like I said, it dries very fast once you put the white paint over it, okay? So it just takes a minute to dry. Okay, set that aside for a minute. Now that it's dry, you can grab your black paint, or if you have a pen at home, like a black pen, you can use that too, but I'll show you with the black paint. You're going to grab your black paint and just take a tiny, tiny amount, not a big amount, teeny tiny, on your paintbrush. Same one is fine. Use the tiny amount like that, okay? And you can draw little tiny eyes on the bee. A dot, and a little smiley like that. And we're gonna do stripes now. So, figure out where you want to make the lines. I'm only making 2 or 3 little lines on my bee. It's actually much easier if you wait till this dries and use a marker just to lightly go over the bee with stripes, because it's a lot harder to take a paintbrush and paint these teeny tiny little lines, but I'm just going to show you how to do it anyway, just in case you wanted to see how to do it. But I highly recommend just doing it with a marker or a pen, like I said, because that's what I did with my other one, and it turned out a lot easier. But that is your bee, and it says be happy. Make sure you let that dry for about 10 to 15 minutes just to make sure it's all dry. Same thing with your stress ball. And then after that, you'll have a stress ball and a worry stone to rub for today. And I'm going to be looking for it in the comments. What ingredient did we use to fill up the stress balls? Also, just an additional comment, feel free to leave it if you'd like. What class are you most excited to taking this year for Camp Challenge? What are you most looking forward to? Alright, I will see you all very soon. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later. Bye!